ahead of us. They're going to be absolutely insane. And you guys know I can't do this alone. I need the help from my boys. It's Vivid, it's Adam, friends. How are you guys feeling coming into NA East?
NA East, day 2, it is here. Day 1 did not disappoint at all. The top of the leaderboard, the top 3, separation on the points there, very, very minimal. Love to see the head-to-head competition throughout all 6 games.
Hello.
It was really, really exciting, and hopefully that keeps up for day 2 because it just made it so.
Yeah, I mean, we have courtside seats to what is going to be the most incredible finale, to what has been like 5-6 weeks of just cracking NAE Fortnite action. I mean, we're all dressed up for the occasion. I got Tigers on tonight, you know, Savage by name, Savage by short sleeve shirt. I'm feeling good. And we're going to have some more, I'm sure. Just, you know, we're having so much fun on the desk right now as well. It's going to be great. And as you know, Vivid said, it's so tight up there at the top as well. So who's going to take it home? Who knows? But it's going to be great bringing you guys all the action.
Oh man, we're going to be boarding that battle bus real soon, but first, you know what we got to do. We got to talk about the top of the show, so we're going to start with how we got here. We started over in Europe, here in NA East. We're going over NA West. Let's talk about that overall tournament format. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. You see that scary graphic? That's the one, but you already know what this is. Look how simple this is. We started in qualifiers, right? From there, we moved on to semifinals. We then went to a reboot round where the top 3 trios came into finals. And now, after the 6 matches yesterday, Vivid, this is 33 of the best trios in NA East, battling it out. And literally every time they interact with each other, whether that be eliminating them, another trio, walking away from them, every single thing that happens on this map.
The best. Past FNCS, the top 3 specifically from that one, and brought them automatically to these finals. Then we had qualifying weeks, and in each of those qualifiers, the top 3 trios automatically qualified for finals as well. And then we went into the semifinals where we had 3 heats, and in each heat, whoever got top 6 came to the finals to join us. And then we had the last ditch effort, the reboot round, the one that watch. We had 3 of those games for this season, so we had 3 trios pulled from that reboot round to join us here in finals, and that's how we made up the 33 best trios of NA East. Now that we're in finals, though, we're gonna have 2 days of competition. We already had our first day, now we're on day 2, and it's 6 games each day. There's 6 more games to play today, and the trio that claims first place are crowned your Chapter 2 Season 6 champions.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what it's all about right now. 8 points separate first and second place. It's that tight after the first 6 games. We're going to the second 6 now. You can see on the board eliminations, 2 points. Technically only 4 eliminations separates first and second place. That's crucial. Eliminations, 2 points each, made such a lot of teams grow their scores yesterday. You can see standings here. The format points as well are incredibly important. 24th place in your trio will get you at least 5 points. You look all the way to the left hand side of the board. You'll see 6th position, 20 points. Working way up to first place. Every victory royale gets you 30 points, which is humongous. We saw our top team Commanders trio yesterday get a first twice and a second place twice as well. It's all about that mixed with the eliminations. The combination is absolutely integral. It is everything.
And you know, Adam, what is this all amounting to? What's the end game here? Well, of course, the Axe of Champions, but we cannot forget there is prize money on the line. Here is a breakdown of all 7 regions. And here specifically, we can see the breakdown of every single placement here in the FNCS and NA East. $150,000 for the trio that walks away in that #1 spot. A lot of these trios, they may not be able to make that #1 spot, but the higher up they can place, the more piece of that pie they'll be able to take home. And of course, apple pie is the best pie. Just kidding, it's actually pumpkin. Anyway, back to the topic of the FNCS. Guys, we got to talk about some of the trios that we've kind of had eyes on. In case you're new to the broadcast, you've never watched an FNCS before. This is Adam. This is Vivid. Okay? They like to have a little bit of a rivalry. Okay? And the 2 trios that they're focused on are actually going head-to-head in first and second spot. So, gentlemen, I'm going to hand this over to you. You guys talk to us about these trios and explain why they're so incredible coming into day #2.
Yeah, arguably the most incredible trio. Maybe not arguably because they are in the first place slot. Scented, Edgy, and Commandment. Consistency was on another level yesterday. They had 2 victory royales, 2 second places, an 18th and an 11th place. The 18th and 11th place, if they would have somehow pulled out some top 5s out of those, man, they would be like 100 points ahead right now. But you know, Everybody has those rough games. That aside, though, those good games they had have put them in that first place spot. And how do they get there? Well, they dominate the low ground. As you can see in this clip right here, they just do such a good job of working together to pressure the teams that are either above them or on the same level as them, and it's all together. And it just works so well for them.
Look, he's so confident for once with it because he knows this is the first time he's on top between the two of us. So I'll have it for now, but things are going to change. They're going to change. I know they are. You can see Day, Mira, and Reverse here, the trio that I've chosen. Qualified on week 2. We know that they're previous FNCS champions. When it comes to head-to-head elimination game, I mean, standings aren't necessarily great, but eliminations is what it's all about for them. These guys, 42 eliminations on day 1 occurred within the first 2 zones, so they are largely doing most of their damage later on in the game. So as long as they stick to the end of the game, they could do a massive amount of point making. And DJ Skills and Ages, I mean, these guys, we know a lot about them. Vivid as well, great team to watch. In 3rd position right now. Recently, DreamHack Open Duos champions DJ and Ages, so they are on point as well. Vivid.
Yeah, they're on point, and to end off day 1 yesterday, they actually grabbed the last victory royale of the day, so momentum is there coming into day 2 for them. As you guys can see here, this is how our standings are set after day 1. So we'll take the points from day 1 together, and that's how we will create our final leaderboard. So the teams here, our top 10 is looking really, really solid. Talked about the top 3, but a team that kind of flew under our radar yesterday was Jamper, Threats, and Rise. They are up there as well with 162 points, 27 elims, a little on the low side for the top side of that leaderboard there, but nonetheless doing great.
Yeah, well, let's definitely talk about those guys later on because I'm sure they're going to see them doing a lot of business out in the lobbies today. We can see as well 4th, 5th, and 6th position as well. Definitely ones to take note of. I mean, the first 6 teams there as well are very, their POIs, their drop zones are very, sporadic around the map. So I think that's one of the reasons that they've done so well as well. They're not actually kind of going head to head against each other until the end game, which gives them a lot more space and opportunity to kind of take their time and get into the games as opposed to going out very early on. But you can see, previous FNCS champions Slacks, Acorn, and Jack there in 8th position right now. A bit of a surprise to all of us. I think we thought they might do a little bit better, but it is day 2. There are still 6 games to play, and they still have 127 points. There's still plenty of time to do exactly that. We can see as well one of our FNCS previous kind of automatic qualifiers in 11th position, Bucky, Macwood's trio as well. I mean, Vivid not as well they're doing as we thought. That was terrible English. Not doing as well as
FNCS. They were actually in 12th place after day 1, and they ended up finishing top 3 in total. So this isn't like unknown territory for them. They have the potential to come back, and day 2 could be absolutely explosive for them. So we need to pay attention. None of these trios are out of the running so far because the top side of the leaderboard, they could have a bad day, and this 11th through 20th position, they could have great days. They come out and win, 6 victory royales. Maybe this team can get 6 victory royales. So gotta keep an eye out on all of these trios.
All right, so Fortnite fam, you heard it. Vivid would like to see a trio walk with 6 victory royales. He's invoking that. It's the opposite of the caster curse. We're going to see if that all happens, and if it does, you can just remember that moment in time where Vivid said that. We'll have to see how that goes. Gentlemen, we have to talk about our predictions. We made predictions at the start of yesterday's broadcast for NA East, and now we should remind the audience which teams we think will walk away in the #1 spot. And of course, for you guys, there's really no surprise. The trios that you kind of just talked about were also your picks. This is why I'm talking about the great Adam versus Vivid battle of 2021. Perhaps of all of life, we'll have to see Adam, Day, Miro, Reverse 2K.
Yeah, I mean, the trio here, I can't champion enough. I mean, we've talked about them, a lot of the last, the last 4 or 5 weeks. They got obviously in the qualifier 2, they qualified top of the leaderboard there and did incredibly well. But as we said, experience plays an important part here in FNCS of everything. Consistency and experience is huge. All of our players, all the trios are incredibly talented, but these guys, they know what to do. There's an instinct around what they're doing together as a trio, and I think that they are going to go the distance today. I think if they have a good game, a few games under the belt, they had bad 2 games, 5 and 6 yesterday. They continue doing well, they're going to go the distance. And I look at as well like Aussie as well, Slacks, Acorn, and Jack, a great trio. They obviously FNCS champions from last season. Are they going to do better today? We hope so. We expected, I think, better things yesterday. They went out quite early in the early game, so hopefully they can go all the way to the end and get some eliminations and get those points.
Yeah, MDF for the prediction on Bucky, Kanata, and Macwood. A good prediction there. Not paying off so far, but like I said, competition is not over. They sit in 11th place. And then, of course, my prediction of Scented Edge and Commandment. we know where they sit, right? They sit in first. I made the prediction. They're in first. Yada yada yada. But we've been here before, right? Like, my predictions are always right, right?
Oh my gosh, he's become too powerful. If he wins the predictions, we'll never be allowed to live it down. Okay, guys, we're about to jump aboard the battle bus, pick your brains as we prepare for these next 6 matches. So we had the 6 from yesterday, and Adam, you actually touched on it. A lot of these trios that we expected to do well didn't really do so hot yesterday. What do you think trios are going to look to change up coming into today's games?
You know, it's a pretty individual-based kind of an idea, right? Like, some trios are having difficulties in some areas, while others are exceeding in some of those areas. So they've had a bit of a break, you know, a whole day to rest up, go over that footage, go over the replays, see what they think they are doing wrong. So today might even be better competition than yesterday because these teams are kind of seeing how all these other trios are landing, how they're like routing their loot, what they're doing for Storm Surge, and they can make huge adjustments to how they actually play around them. So we may see some cool strategies come to light here if somebody does some deep research into how trios are acting that are landing around them.
Yeah, these trios are the best of the best. You know, they've all made it here to FNCS finals, which is, you know, which says a lot about the caliber of the talent here as well. We've touched on a few teams already, but you know, a trio as well like Sap, Stretch, and Avery as well. We talked about yesterday, who, you know, we know them obviously as well because of the history with Zayt and such. But you know, you look at that trio who. It felt that every time they did anything yesterday, it was all about aggression, getting that high ground off the get-go, really, trying to get as dominant as humanly possible very early on. And because all the lobby is so stacked, trios can't afford to really hang back and wait around here. They have to go for this. They have to be aggressive, and that's what we love to see because that's what we want to see: eliminations and great play from our teams.
Absolutely. Well, friends, guess what? We don't have to wait any longer. It's about that time. But first, I gotta introduce you to 2 friends who will be casting all the action. It's none other than Aussie Antics and Monster D-Face. So let's say hello to them and jump aboard the battle bus. Friends, over to you.
Thank you so very much, Zeeks. We're now one step closer here, Aussie, to crowning a champion here for the NA East region. They said it best. They told us who is in the lead right now, but more importantly, what stood out to me is who can adjust to their gameplay, right? Yesterday was a phenomenal day, but no one team played perfect. Everyone at the top did drop a round or 2.
Yeah, I mean, when the competition is this fierce, all we saw was a couple games. Sentin's team struggled one game with Storm Surge. They went down around 18th. We saw it happen to Reverse 2K, Day and Miro. It really is anyone up for grabs. And if you look at EU this morning that just wrapped up, were huge comebacks on the board. Rezon, Vidil, and Noah Riley, they came from, I think, like, outside of top 15 to almost a top 5. Like, you can bring this back in a big way. There's teams around 4th, 5th, 6th that could easily run away with this. But, I mean, Sensei Edgy Commandment, right now, they are playing so consistent. Reverse 2K, Day and Miro, they were insanely consistent first 4 games, fell off the pace, but with their playstyle monster eliminations worth 2, they were dropping record-breaking amounts of eliminations. If they tee that together for 3 or 4 games again, it's gonna be tough.
And that's the thing. Right now, we're watching all that success, all that effort, all that hard work that they put in the preparation. Now, literally folding itself over into the gameplay. It's coming out, and it's just leaking its way into the scoreboard right now. They're finding so much success at being consistent with their strategies. DGen, Aegis, and Skittles, Reverse 2K, and of course his trio here, now up against Sensitive. It's literally a clash right now between the 3. Honestly, it's a race. I think it's a true race right now between the 3. And again, they still have to play perfect Fortnite. Just outside of that that bubble of near perfection, we do still have the likes of Sap, Avery, and Stretch, who most impressively to me have been playing for high ground, right? What we've watched from them is nothing short of phenomenal. A team that wants to play for first, and I personally love seeing teams, you know, push out and try to be the best of the lobby and secure a W.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time as well, we've got so many teams. We saw other teams like Nosh's team show up and take a victory out. With so many teams in this lobby that could very easily take out a win, even if they're down on the leaderboard, that keeps the top even closer. But Sensei Edgy Command, we got to talk about it. They haven't just been consistent this weekend, Monster. They came second in the last 2 FNCSs. You and I were talking in the pre-show. A top 3 today, I feel like, would have to cement them as the best team in NAEs with that level of consistency. We want to celebrate the win. I'm sure they won. They have their eyes set on that pickaxe. We just saw in EU, all the pros talking about it. The pickaxe means a lot to these guys. Second place, it's a lot of money. First place is even more, but it's also the pride. They've been runners-up twice. but their consistency across, that's so far, that's 24 games of finals. They've now played 30 games of finals, and they've been inside the top 2 the entire time. Hold on.
Yeah, they have some of the best consistency we've seen across any region, but here and now for day number 2, the game 7, as we start to kick things off here, will start to cement players in one step closer. Let's see who can take it all home here now and who will win the first game of day number 2.
Gonna be interesting to see how this one plays out. I mean, I'm not seeing any kind of crazy changes so far. It looks like Caddy Corner's got the same fight we saw going on before, but our big names, Scented Edgy Commandment, Misty Meadows, uncontested. Degen Agent Skittles up near that orchard. It looks like they triple dropped on the Slurp Chuck, uncontested as well. Right now, Day Mirror Reverse, Dirty Dogs, uncontested. So there's been no crazy changes so far. So as much as these teams are looking to run away with it, it looks like everyone's starting off on pretty much similar footing here.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a reset day, not only for the players here, but of course the mental as well, right? You get to sleep things off, you get to hit the books like you mentioned, you get to literally review, come up with strategies, figure out what was working for you, what isn't, what better ways can we either rotate into teams to capitalize or avoid teams to capitalize. One of the things that I did notice about Reverse 2K, Miro, and Day, they're pretty much outclassing a lot of the opponents in their general landing spot area. And for that reason, they're very much happy with taking a lot of those early game fights. As opposed to like Edgy, Sensitive, and Commandment, for example. When they rotate out, they're coming across the likes of Jack, Aquin, and Slaps, right? There's no easy teams on their pathing out, so even positioning here on the map, it just plays such a deeper part into the way that their games are unfolding.
Yeah, and I think Reverse 2K Day Mirror, the way they're playing their Storm Surge, because they're in Dirty Dogs, timing is everything. They need to get enough loot and use that uncontested POI to get that advantage, so when they take their first fight, they can win it. But if they take too long on their first fight, in game 6, even though they maybe have their opponent outclassed in fighting ability, because of other teams in the area having eyes on it, they don't get to have that straight 3v3 fight they like to have. There was a lot of people, you know, there were third party taking shots from a distance, and that was the deciding factor. So their timing has to be perfect, and I think, unfortunately for their play style, it looks like the teams around them are adapting to the way they're playing. But this is a fight that we saw break down a lot yesterday. We have Xerxes' team going up against Coop's team here at Caddy Corners. This usually was a Caddy Corners and then Weather Station split. It looks like things are breaking down early at the Caddy Corners, and Twix right now has the shotgun, has the SMG, has a decent fighting loadout, as I also see Cease go down to the feed. So over at Flush Factory or Hydro Dam, something's changed up there because they were uncontested yesterday.
And that's one of those things that Drop Spot definitely yields out some really awesome loot right now for different reasons. But hold up, Twix is under some serious pressure. He's trying to figure things out right now. They're all back against the wall here. Cobb, Genesis, Adams, and Coop here finding, I'd say, the upper hand in the battle so far as shielding goes. But it still is a very scrappy battle between the two. No one trio right now can confidently say they're going to win this one. Not just yet. It's going to come down to the shots. Chubbs, nice job there for the punishment. So things are still in, the story for them, right? They're still holding it down so far.
And they're up against the veteran. Codus has, I would say, close to 1,000 spawn. I know what you're thinking, like, oh, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I kid you not, when COD Genesis was playing against Colazo and they were dropping here, it was day after day, 10 games of scrims every day, 4 weeks, 4 months, they were fighting over Caddy Corner. So COD Genesis really is the veteran when it comes to this spawn fight, but it's going to come down a lot to who has the better loot, as I see Edgy getting a knock in the feed. That's first place getting a very uncharacteristic early knock, so that's 2 more points, and whoa, this is an wow, okay, did not expect this. Talk coming out, they're going to be looking for early fights. Our first place team is breaking the mold. They are changing things. We talked about hitting the VODs, and no one hits the VODs harder than Censored. This guy puts in the hours, he puts in the time, and he's obviously figured out DeQuentin's team is easy pickings near them. So not only do they now have all the loot of uncontested Misty, they have 4 points. I believe that was 2 eliminations because I think Zemo is getting off in the distance, and 3 Storm Surge. That is a massive start for this team.
Yeah, not only that, it's a push towards the Hydro Dam, so you know the good loot over there as well, something they can capitalize on if they find that team. And actually, yesterday, I believe they clashed with that team one time in the early game, and it turned out not so well for them. So I'm assuming that they wanted to go back and literally catch their redemption arc there. Because again, if you can set up a fight and win it the first time, you're more likely to want to swing it back through last time. And the last time, it didn't end as fast as they liked it to have ended. So this time around, like you mentioned, changing things up a little bit quicker to the draw there, and then winning out the engagement. Now though, COD Genesis seems like he got down in this fight here, but Adam's gonna go in and pick him up. And now, again, a little bit of a reset here, but surely the enemies know that now it's a full reboot. So, oh, look at this, proper distance. Oh, look at this, proper disengage here.
Oh, it's not only that, I'm seeing they're disengaging straight into a third party. I'm seeing 3 arrows up on the mountain looking down. They would have 100% heard that reboot, so they know that this fight has gone to one of these teams, which will make them that much more inclined to engage. I mean, they don't have zone though, so whatever this team up on the hill does, they need to either get some early tags and maybe run away, or fully engage very quickly, because they have to rotate, and even 2 teams ahead of you rotating, no matter what their loadout looks like, because Adam's not looking too hot right now. It's not the way to play it if you can avoid it though. So it looks like they are going to rotate around the edges, maybe just get a few tags and try to get something out of this. But as we saw yesterday, it's unfortunate to see this contest doesn't really matter who, because both of them are losing the war at the end of the day. They are just not getting to end game with the loot they need to make a major difference.
Yeah, that's the thing. It can be really infuriating for a player to want to stick out a drop spot, but ultimately you do have to sometimes just take one on the chin here and decide as the bigger team, or be the bigger person in the instances, and maybe just switch it up, try something different. But ultimately there's no free drops on the map, so it is what it is. Even if they do move out, they're going to end up clashing against some other team or another. But hold up, Hornet and company now looking inside. This is Skylex, Adonis, and Hornet fully healthy HP wise, all the way capped off here. Adonis playing the lurker on the side here. Twix seems like he had an idea that someone might be nearby, but maybe not. This could be the free pinch.
Yeah, right now they're coming in with a lot of a loot advantage here. From all the mountains they got to loot for free, and now they're rotating in. Once they saw Coop's team disengage, that was their green light to go. It's now 3v3. We know we have the better loot. Twix goes down. Zerx is not looking too hot either. Chubbs has the biggest advantage on his team, but only has about a effective 100 full HP with shield as well on top. So it's not looking like a good fight. It's a bit of a storm fight. It might look like an interesting one for you guys at home, but this is a decent strategy from Adonis' team to get some good surge. There's usually a vehicle in this area, so if they have a vehicle to disengage from this quickly and then start rotating, it could work well for them. But I know Adonis' team needs to get some points on the board. They've been struggling a little bit for surge, which is the story for a lot of teams that drop on these mountains and this far southeast section, similar to the far northwest section with Coral Castle and the Shark area. That's a really tough area to rotate from in these set lobbies. So sometimes taking these more aggressive engagements does actually yield good rewards in the end. And there they are. They get one of the vehicles. Adonis jumps in. Skylex is going to be the last to follow, and I think they're happy with their 1 elimination and their Storm Surge.
Yeah, for sure. They made it worthwhile at least to get to convert there on top of an elimination there, which again is surge preparation. It's everything else in between. Illis, Blake, and Furious though, a bit of a drawn-out battle as well. You can see the white tags and the HP very low there, but the Siphon from Knifer is going to cap off Furious. They find Sticks as well, and they're just pulling in the bodies. They're not letting it go to waste here. They do want to pick up the loot, and it seems like our trio of Civet, they're catching 2. Not bad at all.
2 peppers in the inventory. That means they can't get a full pepper stack. Obviously you need 3 of them to get every single teammate topped up, but that's still really good. You put that on 2 of the players to ramp height, or just make a rotate. The last one staggers behind a little bit in the tarps. Really underrated item right now, being one of the only forms of mobility, and it's one of the reasons why Sentin's team is having a lot of success. You don't usually think of Misty Meadows as having a lot of peppers. It's not like a caddy corners, but it does have a few non-boxes. With a bit of luck there, you can easily get enough. And we were talking yesterday about how they kind of invest theirs earlier in the game to get better rotations rather than saving them until endgame, as we're getting a very late reboot from Zemo. I respect that, but that's even better for Sentinel Edge and Commandment. Depending on where they are on this rotate, they now have the team. They already got 2 eliminations on and Storm Surge now rotating in behind them, even more shambles than they were last time. Their loadout looking even worse, so I respect it. I think it's the play from Zemo, but if some of these top teams can take advantage of that, this could be double dip here for Sentinel's team.
Yeah, for sure, and at the very least, you get those extra surge tags, and having a lobby or a team this week in the lobby is a blessing for everyone right now. So it's just going to work out here. Zemo's going to go in and pick up his trios there. He does drop some heals, and oh no, it's only one that does end up being able to get rebooted there, which means he did not pick up the additional reboot card. That's just the way things work out. You do have to get both of those reboot cards before they expire. In the distance though, Chimp, Tabney, Teo, eyes on Furious, Illis, and Blake here are trying to move across. You can see they have I'm going to go up on top of this mountain here, poison themselves up in a bit more of a stronger position, and now they have the upper hand here for anyone who has to rotate later.
I mean, stakes are on today. Ramos, let's talk about it. There is so so much money on the line here. There is hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've seen the life-changing money go out on EU today. We've obviously got a team that's come second twice as well, so we know their eyes are set on first as well. The prize money, honestly, I feel like Percentage team, I might speak for them. I think the win is what they've got their eyes on more than the prize money, but there is going to be lives changed today, and that pressure has to be getting to some of these guys. They are, all of them are competitive vets right now at the top. I'd say DJ, Age, and Skittles, maybe the least experienced, and they have still played in these scenarios so many times before. You've got to think they're feeling the pressure coming into the final 6 games though. You get a bit of a mental reset, but how long does it go until these games where you start to get nervous again? Sensei even tweeting out yesterday, he was struggling for Storm Surge because he was so nervous, he was shaking. And that's a team that's come second place twice.
Wow, and again, the profits are nice, but like you said, it's about everything else. It's about the reputation. It's about playing to your heart's content and just proving again that you have the competitive spirit to be #1. That is really what these guys are fighting for. It's everything but the money sometimes, and you can see it. Like yesterday was just such a great a showcasing of teams that want to win. It's so clear that so many teams have first place dead set in stone there, right? That is what they are going after. And you know, the competition is not easy by any means. N8 East has truly proven to be such a stacked region. We saw multiple lobbies after lobbies. It wasn't until the last game things went a little bit faster, but even then, it was surge after surge, and this game is just like yesterday's. We still have 32 trios alive closing.
Yeah. There's a lot of players alive, and I thought maybe they were going to come out a little bit hotter. Maybe they were going to try and, you know, run for it, like get a big jump up. We see teams like Niddles. Niddles team finished day 1 with 86 points in the last 2 games, most of any team. So Casca, Smacked, and Niddle came back in a big way like any team can. They beat Contested Retail Row. We know that by Nobu Beef, Lupian, and Nick FN. They were having a rough start of the day. It looks like maybe something shifted there. Nick FN's team, I think, started dropping in different areas, and with that Retail Row uncontested, they've had a big jump up. So they put eyes set up there. It could be a little, I don't want to say a little too late. They can have a huge jump up on the leaderboard, which is a lot of money, but also these are teams that can take points away from the top teams. All it takes is for them to get a few victory royales here, and all of a sudden the top teams are really left high and dry for points, as I was talking about Nobu Beef's team stuck down below in a really sticky situation.
Yeah, Reverse K just picked up an elimination as well onto TNA. Stacky off in the distance there too, so just picking away, stealing away from other opponents, honestly. And now Dave, man, he's just got his eyes on 2 trios down low. They can see the weak build there. That floor being edited is the clear-cut giveaway. They found enemies like this before. Actually, yesterday was the day where they found Scented doing that. Just so happened to be peeking out of that box, and they punished him for it. Which was Slash, Acorn, and Jack's crew. So these pros, man, they'll pick up any little telltale sign. They find a pixel, they find an opportunity, they do end up capitalizing. And Day, no stranger to finding eliminations. On the other side, though, the story is still on Niddle, Smack, and Casper. How far can they ride this momentum that they picked up yesterday? 2 big games at the end, proving that they have what it takes to come out of the drop spot, find success, and then be even better than that. This time around, they didn't wipe the team at their drop spot, so it seems like they're probably hopeful to be a little more passive, right? Make it to the end games and do what they do best.
I was going to focus on this fight as well. So next zone was close to this fight. I knew Damien and Reverse are going to try to make a play for this. If this zone pulled max distance, if it went right up towards Craggy Cliffs, they would not be taking this fight. But they know they have time because that's a very short run to the next zone. And if you eliminate every team between you and zone, you can't then get held to make the late rotate into zone. And that is how this team thinks. Miro stayed up above. That's supremely confident in Day and Reverse to go down, get their tags, and open up this fight. Stays above, come back up, we'll get a bit of a breather, then we'll go back down. This team has full control right now. I don't think they want to pull off a full engagement. I don't think they're going to go all out here. If this was just one trio, I'm pretty confident they would. If they can somehow get Nobu Beef and Lupian focused here or get them to go down, they could re-engage on the trio, but that is good Storm Surge tags for a team that this is their story. We've basically seen it. If Miro, Day, and Reverse get their Storm Surge early, if they make it through this first and second threshold, that is when they just run away with it, because it's only at the start where this team struggles. They're dirty dogs, they're uncontested, all the teams around them are rotating early, they have their loot and they get out, and they're avoiding them. It's that simple. The teams that are between Reverse 2K, Day and Miro, and Zone are avoiding them now. So they need to find them, but once they find them, they are now good to start making plays like this, where they will rack up the eliminations coming into endgame.
And the truth is that they need this refresher right now. They're really trying to throw it all at this team right now because they want that loot. They need the material. Just take a look, Ozzy. 38 builds here. If you caught a quick glimpse at Day as well, Day didn't have much to work with. This is why they're trying to get in front of this team and hopefully hold them out. And I'm willing to put it out there. I think they're going to go all the way. I think they're willing to toss this game out the window, or not necessarily toss out the window, but put it all on the line in order to play for the victory here, right, and secure the points.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing as well, that we've kind of always had that phrase, and it's always coined to, you know, the godfather of competitive Fortnite, Zayd, always saying, do you have the loadout to win? No? Then you need a refresh. Don't just hold on to the few materials you have. That's decently high in tournaments, but if you're trying to win, and this is a team that has already won an FNCS, that is what their eyes are set on, you need to get the refresh. You can't just hold on to your 60, 70 builds, rotate until you get top 40. You need to get that refresh that gives you the chance to win the game. So I agree with you. I think they have their eyes set on a monster, and we saw it yesterday. They had the confidence. Reverse 2K had the confidence to step up in front of the whole scene and say, we are the best team on this region, and I'm willing to back it up. So with that kind of confidence, with Day and Miro at your back, who have the most amount of confidence when it comes to fighting, I think they're willing to take a fight here soon, but this zone hasn't really favored them for a monster. It's pulled a little bit further across. There's at least 5 or 6 teams that have eyes on them just here, and I think that bridge team is going to be their target, or they're just going to save some mats by rotating behind them, but it's Middle Casca smacked. That's an equally scary fighting team here.
Look at this. They only send Day, though. Day's just creeping in, trying to see what's over there. Who is there? And there is that full team waiting. So they didn't actually rotate. Could end up backfiring. On the other side, though, you can see the struggle is real to make it to the new zone. It seems like the majority of the zone is fully set up. Look at how many tall bases we're looking at, especially at the heart of Boney Burb. On the bottom, though, Jamper, Threats, and Rise. Keep an eye out on them. Remember, there are still teams in 4th, 5th, and everyone else just outside that bubble region that can hop up. If any of these top 3 teams fall, it's gonna be a problem. DGen, Aegis, and Skittles there you saw for a brief moment as well, having a tough time HP-wise. So already, teams at the top aren't necessarily solidified right now. 2 of our top 3 teams, as we know it right now, Ozzy, are not looking too hot.
Yeah, you've really got to play consistent Fortnite in this format right now. And this is a great zone to start off. There is no complaints here. This is pretty much an almost dead center zone. It's on Boney Burb. Everyone has equal chances to make this rotate and make a big game 1. There's no far north team or far south team that is going to be discriminated against by the zone gods here. They have a chance to have their big game and start off with, Casca takes down Reverse. So it looks like they did try to rotate behind them. They did potentially try to take a fight, and Edgy takes down Chubs. So not only has is still getting eliminations, but it was only a knock. Day and Miro was still up, and let's be honest, they could easily win a 2v3 fight given the chance.
Saf just got a knock, which means High Ground is under some potential pressure. Okay, it's just Champion knocked right now. Never mind. I thought they somehow built up Ozzy. I thought they somehow snuck their way up.
I thought Dubs was looking up there. I thought Mega was looking up. I was thinking maybe if they made that decision a second earlier, they could have gone up for it, but it looks like we have lost Reverse. I think Reverse has been capitalized on. I'm only seeing Day and Miro. They're getting Stinkfish now. They're backed up against the corner. Day doesn't have any shield. Miro only has 1 mini, and this Stinkfish is between the Stinkfish and Zone. I actually think Miro's going to potentially go down. There's no, it just expires, but whoever threw that knows they are so weak. They saw those damage tags. What can Miro do around the corner? Stand there with the big pumps. Can they utilize them? Miro's trying to look for that loot. He wants to jump in and get it, but he needs to make sure it's secure. And Day has the harpoon, so they get a bit of a refresh, and that med kit is going to be pivotal. But how many points can they hold on to here, Monster? This isn't going to be a game they can run away with and get a victory out, I don't think. So with Censored Edu Commandment up and healthy, this is very, very scary for Reverse 2K's team.
But wait, this actually works out. They're getting lobby focused. The team right above them is literally lobby focused out, and they can see all the builds breaking. They might just get all the refresh that they need. And it's actually a half in, half out pull to the south side. So with the harpoon here, Miro and Day might get enough loot to actually extend their game. Sometimes, just sometimes, things just work in your favor, and this might be one of those very unique circumstances where, once again, this trio gets granted exactly what they need. This is equivalent to finding that llama at the bottom of the sea the time that they won that FNCS championship just 2 seasons ago. Like, they just got all the loot in the world. Look at this, Miro, fully capped off. Now he can make this rotate. This wouldn't have been possible otherwise.
130 materials. This is enough to just play it out. And I mean, when you've got Day at the back, if he can try and get another refresh, they could keep pushing this. They've rotated back into Middle Casca. They got pretty unlucky on the rotate, but got very, very lucky with Pamstow's team getting focused, and they were just that little bit behind the elevation with the hard mat, so no one focused them. They get all the material, and really, really well played by Day and Miro. They kept their composure, they didn't panic, showing why they have won an FNCS in this situation before, but now it's the fire. First it was the stinks, and now it's the fire. They have to push up, and that could be enough for a team to maybe focus them, but luckily Miro does have that big mat refresh, and they get first rotating zone again. So we still have a competition at the top. Where is Commandment, Sense, and Edgy? I haven't seen them in the feed. I'm sure they've made this rotate, but are they in a position of power? Do they have their low ground? Do they have the peppers still in the back pocket to get ahead of this? Because Day and Miro, despite being a duo, are looking all right, but they've gone through what little meds they had, Monster. They need a refresh.
Yeah, and you know what? They're just on the next threshold as well. There's a very important elimination coming soon. They're trying to take a fight there, so be careful. On the other side, though, Stretch and company already positioning themselves up and now making the rotate nice and earlier. They're below the Surge, though. Surge is going to be active right now. 17 players have to go down, and Stretch and crew are now trying to get inside the box. They actually need these tags desperately there, but so do Miro and Day. Miro and Day working through enemy builds. Is this Casper and company trying to get a little bit of revenge here? Ozzy, every one of our top teams are lighting things up right now. Stretch finds a couple in the feed, so does Jack. D-Gen's still there too. We have ourselves a competition amongst the best of the best, the top of the top. But hold up, talking about who's on top, it is Nosh and Nut here trying to play for a victory royale. Is this going to be their second one now?
When we see them on top, they come out on top. In their qualifying week, they won 5 of 6 games. And a lot of people in the community try to take that away from them and said, hey, that was during qualifiers. A lot of the big teams weren't there. You guys won't get hired as easily in the finals lobbies. Well, looks like they are. They've already got 1 victory royale on the board day 1 of the first 6 games. Looking poised to do 2 wins back-to-back. They are very much in that conversation to jump up as Miro goes around the outside, but no Storm Surge. 112 love. He's knocked down Sully. If he can jump down and get this one, 15 HP, he needs to finish. 85, it's just not enough. He doesn't get the finish, and he doesn't get the surge, but there it is. He gets the finish. It comes through, but I think Day has gone down. Miro is yet again solo clutching. Me and Monster have built him up as one of the best solo players in the region, and he genuinely is, and he's having to prove it here. But playing solos in solos is one thing, playing solos in trios is another, and then playing solos in trios in the best of the best. If anyone can do it, it's Miro, but things aren't looking too fantastic here. 10 teams, 26 players. Every single team that goes down is a point, though. He's holding on. That's another refresh. He's found 3 floppers, though, Monster. He is actually getting what he needs to potentially get something out of this, but Zone is pulling, and he needs to get in soon.
It's a max pull as well. This should be all she wrote for Miro here, but talk about Clutch right now. Top 10 as a solo with 2 eliminations is still nothing to overlook. He just literally clutched up for his entire team right there just now. But on the bottom, Sensei, Edgy, Commandment are still alive, and they're alive together. D-Gen causing havoc here, though. Acorn and Jack still up as well. Hold up, D-Gen's still doing it, and he finally gets cut out there by Stretch. Stretch is going to be granted a free elimination, but making it tough for everyone else as Edgy goes down, or Commandment goes down. Edgy's lit up right now. 36 HP is up to him to clutch out right now, and that is just how close the competition is for everyone here. But 8 eliminations, nothing to overlook right now for someone like Edgy. Edgy clutched up yesterday. We watched him do something so crazy. Those low ground wins, hitting all the shots as well. And here, still now, top 5, more points.
There's a lot of focus on, obviously, his teammate Sensei and Commandment, but Edgy, NRG Edgy can do big things when he needs to. He trades with Illust, though. He runs into Illust. How many times have we seen that on the low ground? Looks like Blake gets the shot in there as well. Nosh, Nut, and Chucky are back where everything begins. Spire is their drop. It's their starting location. It's going to be their ending location. They're going to get the 6th elimination victory out. It all comes full circle, but it looks like it was Stretch's team in 2nd. We saw them still up there. They are climbing right now. Remember, they're in 6th place, and with the way they're playing right now, Monster, if anyone's going to be able to pick up back-to-back or multiple victory outs, it's looking like them. But Nosh's team, massive props to them. When they get that high ground, when they get that zone, they win games. They're playing fantastic.
Listen, Nosh is back. C9's Nosh putting up this show right now with Nut and Royale. There's only Royale. There's only a couple of teams right here, Ozzy, that we're watching play for high ground. And for everyone that's been doubting these teams that are hype-style players, you're watching these young vets, or these young, I should say, hungry players coming for the vets next. Of course, Stretch, Avery, and Saf there. But again, that's just the beginning. Zeke, I want to hear from you.
Bro, you know I'm all about this game, all right? You know I like to see new blood go on, take on the old guard, dethrone them potentially. I'm down. This is what I live for, baby. Absolutely insane game. And I gotta say, for Chucky, Nosh, and Nut, having that high ground, we were kind of talking about it in the back leading into this moment. We're like looking around like, oh man, these wide tracks are so good, setting everything up for us. We're like, oh my gosh, Circle 6, they're up there. They're not gonna lose this, are they? You know, like it just goes that way sometimes. But how do you guys feel in Vivid after the first game of day number 2?
Oh, that was spectacular. Degen at the end there in those last final circles, going through the zip line, breaking all the builds there, just causing a whole bunch of havoc to the rest of the competition. I believe specifically going right through Scented Edge and Commandment's builds. I think they took a lot of damage from that happening. But Scented Trio still ended up being like 5th. Saf ended up in 2nd with 44 points. Nosh picked up 42 points there. Excited to see the leaderboard because that was a fun first game.
It was. I was surprised. I mean, we talked about it behind the scenes there, lads. But obviously with Miro's trio as well, he had the floppers just get back into zone, but wanted the mats. Got a little bit excited, and we'll see what happens. You know, when it comes to the leaderboard. But I think Niddle as well. There, it's 3rd game on the trot now, double eliminations, which is huge. Lots happening already, and the leaderboard is going to be very different. Mark my words, we see it very shortly.
We'll get there in just a second, because first we got to talk about some trios. They might be flying under our radar, but are still holding top 10. Adam, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, we're all about celebrating all the trios here at FNCS Finals. One trio that qualified in 3rd position in Qualifier 1 was Jamper, Threats, and Rise. These guys, Holly Hedges is their home. That's where they drop. And they're actually quite lucky that they're the only ones there is uncontested. They have a lot of space around them as well, that they can kind of rotate and maneuver pretty easily. Getting out, they got Acorn and Slacks down to Slurpee. They got Illicit's trio very close to them as well, but they're able to get out if they need to. I mean, look at yesterday's stats themselves. You know, they were in the top. They're in the top 10, 5 out of 6 games, which is incredible for them. Tons of eliminations as well under their belt. So that you can see with the 3rd position, they get hit 3rd in their 3rd game with 12 eliminations. So if they can get to that end game, they certainly can sweep up as well. So hopefully, I reckon if these guys, obviously we're learning more about them all the time, can continue their kind of at least ability to get into that top 10 or so. I'm excited to see where they could finish up today. Obviously, we talked all about marking your legacy and going up against the old veterans as well. But these guys, they can go the distance. I'm excited to see what they do next.
Yeah, and another trio that was doing very, very well, but we didn't get a chance to talk about much today with Dubs, Mega, and Rokane. Rokane obviously being a new addition to that trio. Perhaps switched up because Dubs and Mega unfortunately did not make the finals of the last FNCS, which was heartbreaking because we know that they are finals-esque players. We know that they belong in finals, so really excited to see them back. And after day 1, they finished 7th, and after that game 1 here from today, they got 9th place with 3 elims, so 23 points for them. Not the best game ever, but still enough to keep them in the running here. And just we know Mega and Dubs, they've been a duo forever. They have the potential to pop off, and then Rokane, a really solid player there, to just solidify how good this trio can be. And I really like the idea that they have Boney, Burbs uncontested because they get those Slurp tanks uncontested, so they get that 3 shield. And yeah, here we have it.
Oh boy, Adam, no!
I can't believe it. They've slipped into 3rd. I can't believe it, boys. Do you know what I mean? To be fair, when we look at the top 3 teams there, though, that is still mighty tight. You know, we are talking, what, 10, 15 points? No, my maths is terrible. We'll leave this a bit. Ultimately, around 20 points or so. 21 points, thank you. 21 points between 3rd and 1st position there. You can see the Victory Royales, of course, coming from Commandment 2 yesterday, and Degen's squad there as well, coming in with Victory Royales there as well. But 45 eliminations, 43 eliminations, and 46 eliminations. We're starting to really see a difference now. Obviously, yesterday, Miro's trio had like a real lead with eliminations, but as you can see, 1st and 2nd place have really stepped up, getting into the 40s as well now, so it's mighty tight up there. All the position points, though, Commandments really are doing superbly right now, but even Sap, Stretch, Avery move into 4th position as well, Vivid, which is exciting because they've bumped up, and I mean, it's all changing. Everything's changing.
I'll tell you what isn't changing though. Bucky, Kanata, and Mac was still in the 11th place slot. But a team that I really want to shout out there is Nido's trio in the 8th place slot on the 1st page here. Nido, Casper, and Smack. That game 1 right there was their 3rd game in a row with at least 10 eliminations. Those guys are on an absolute tear right now. If they can keep that up, keep that statistic up, they will be finding themselves a lot of points, and they'll be flying up the leaderboard. So excited to see what they can do in the next couple games.
They just gotta pair that right with that placement. Just gotta make it to the end game right there. Give us a top 5. Give us those double. Absolutely insane. Now, once again, this is just game number 1. Okay, this is just a feeler. This is just testing the waters. We have 5 more matches out ahead of us. So we hope you guys are enjoying all of the action. If you're watching the Party Royale, what's up, Party Royale? Man, I love hanging out with you guys so much. It's truly an honor to hang out with you. Make sure to use all your favorite emotes. Throw the tomatoes, do all the things. Friends, we're getting ready to jump back into all of the action. The battle bus is warmed up. It's ready to go. We've got Aussie Antics. We've got Monster Deep Face. They're high. So hang on to your seats because we're jumping into the next game of the FNCS here in NA East.
There you guys have it. The battle bus is underway, and once again here, we get to tune in with Chucky, Nut, and Nosh at the center of the Spire with their draw spot because they're pulling off those Victory Royales like we knew they could. And again, it is still one of the only teams here to actually put up a high ground style play. We're watching that high ground can be so successful when it all connects for them.
When it all connects with them, honestly, I'm waiting for it. DJ and Aegis Skittle had their big jump up in the 2nd place now. I'm waiting for them to have their big high ground performance as well. We know they can do it. I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. We even had Stretch, you know, one of the undisputed kings of high ground, even going so far as to try and leak DJ and Aegis Skittle's strategy for getting height on social media, which we anything, it shows me respect. It shows a little bit of fear of what DJ and Aegis and Skittles can do. So they're in 2nd place, but all it's going to take is for them to have their big game to jump up onto the high ground, get a victory out, and all of a sudden Sensei Edgy Commandment aren't looking so hot because they're ahead by a little bit, but 30 points for a victory out. Each elimination is worth 2. A 10 elimination win on high ground, which is highly potential, everything changes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Everything can absolutely change, and we like to say this. That's how quick things can change for any of these teams. One mistake, one drop out of the round, you're in shambles, and there goes the lead that you've built up. And even now, you just called it, like, this lead is not that big. It's a very small margin, all things considering, and we've seen how teams can slip down. Just what happened in the last round for Day Miro and Reverse here. Big credits to Miro, man. I don't think we gave him enough props for the clutch that he pulled off there alongside Day. With Reverse 2K falling so early, it looked like it was all but over. But again, those refreshers, man, finding that loot there, that could be the difference that at the end, when we do get to see, after the end of these 12 games, how close, or if not, they take this all home.
It's incredible how some of these players can do it. Like, everyone here is on just a whole different level to each other as well. Like, this is the finals for a reason, but some of the clutches we've seen so far as FNCS, scoped as a solo to clutch up qualification. We've now seen on the grand stage, we've seen Miro clutch up twice as a solo. If you watched EU today, you saw Rezon just go absolutely insane. It's incredible to think that some players can manage to do it against 3 other players who've gone through weeks and weeks of qualifications to even get here, as it looks like Coop, Adams, and Genesis, a team that's been having a rough time of things, is looking like they're a little bit more stacked than they were last time, but they're willing to take the fight. And now they've got Zone. Zone has gone south, so they have the ability to take this fight and have it last a little bit longer. I'm actually more scared than anything for Sentin's team in 1st place right now that they have Zone. They've struggled more for Surge when they get Zone than when they don't get Zone, because no one moves past them. They have to be more active to go out and look for the Surge rather than just naturally rotating with other teams and getting it along the way. So are they going to take that same fight against DeQuentin's team? Are they going to potentially lose it this time? They've got Zone, but I feel more pressure for Commandment Sense and Edgy than I do for DJ and Aegis Skittles all the way on the other side of the map at the Orchard and Triple House split.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And let's not forget, like, they've already played that card, right? They played the hand. Stayed early to take that instant fight. Whether or not the Quintus crew ends up changing the strategy is going to be the real question here. But for the quick stat, Degen Trio is the only team with 20+ points in every game. So far, I would argue that means they've been the most consistent this weekend.
What? That is incredible. That is an actually incredible statistic. So they're on 225 points right now. So yeah, they haven't had their, 2nd places and 1st places. They've had 1 win so far. But they've got so many consistent placements. 6th, 10th, 9th, 5th, 13th being their worst, 1st and 7th. That is really consistent. And that is going to be very, very scary for teams like Commandment Sense and Edgy that have had their games where they're a little bit higher, but they've had their 18th places as well. So far, no matter where Zone's gone, DJ and Aegis Skittles have had a game plan. And when you're thinking about 5 more games to go, that's looking interesting.
No, definitely. And again, That means that they've already pulled the victory royale, so they've shown us, hey, listen, they can take these wins here. That was the end of yesterday, but right now for Coop, Adams, and Genesis, they've rotated themselves into another time around. That means someone is on their heels quickly too. Let's see who's going to end up being as Coop gets knocked there. Big exchanges. Those tack attacks were good. It's actually Spegu and crew here who come right up from the top. Goku and Charlie, they are connecting with everything that they need, and the Stinkerfish here just flushing out Adams and caught Genesis here. There's nowhere you can hide. It's literally going to force them out. No builds for Adams. He's all but out in the open here to take the gun exchange, and it's not going to be any good here as they get the quick cleanup there. That's 6 points. A nice 6-point swing. Remember, still for these teams here, finishing higher and higher on the standings does unlock you a little bit more prizing here at the end of the day.
It is, and it's also bragging rights as well. Cooper players specifically who really made a name for himself in solos. He won DreamHack solos and FNCS solos back to back, which is impressive in any game mode, but in solos, that really caught a lot of people's attention, but struggled in team game mode since then. I know how much it means to him to try to make a name for himself as a team game mode player, but right now, I don't really think it's too much against Coop, Adams, and COD Genesis. It's just a drop situation. They've got a lot of teams around them. Even when they take the fight and win it, there's another team on their heels ready to clean up. It's an unfortunate situation to be in, but they could maybe find a way around it. We've seen some teams this weekend do really well from these dire situations, but I feel for the team as well, but this South Zone is going to change things up a lot. Not only does it favor some of the teams like Commandment Centered Edgy, if they get their Storm Surge, this is where all the brutal zones are. This is where, as Sundown always says, Old Man Mountain will take his toll. If we get a big mountain zone, which I don't think, I mean, maybe correct me, Monster, we haven't really seen that so far this weekend. We've seen some water zones, we've seen some elevation zones, but we haven't seen a true mountain zone, and that's when teams, when everything just hits the fan and it's really just reactive Fortnite. You can prepare for it, you can practice for it, but it is another kind of evil when you get stuck on the bottom and it goes up.
Yeah, we haven't seen any crazy zones like that. For Straw Hat, Charlie, Goku, and Spegu, they're in 15th place right now as well, so they're by no means out of this competition. The top 5 is very much in striking distance, and with the 6 eliminations, or the 3 eliminations here in the 6-point swing, that's really good for them right now as far as where they sit here in the tournament. So good start for them so far. They pull zone now that they have their tags. This is the question though. How are going to respond to this zone? They've already done what we knew that they would have to do. Move quick, move early, try to strike fast on teams rotating, but Aussie, we knew there wouldn't be many teams rotating, and that's why they're sitting here now, out in the open with these mega wide stands. But so is Felix, Pose, and Sparebow on the other side of the mountain, so both teams thinking the same exact strategy here.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a bit scared here, Monster. This is
me too.
We'll have to see. This is not the position you want to see them in. Yes, they look healthy material-wise, but you can see from the loadout, Edgy didn't even spend the time to farm up the mechanical parts to upgrade his makeshift shotgun. He just knew he needed to get somewhere and get some surge. This team right now might not look at you at home if you don't get involved in competitive Fortnite a lot. They are desperate. This is what desperation looks like right now, but they've done it before. They could do it here, but this is probably the worst situation we've seen them in, and a lot of teams know that these mountains and these hills is where everyone sets up. They're going to try and wide rotate around it if they can. They're going to use vehicles, as you saw then, which is very hard to get tags on, and we have 93 players alive. NA East is proving to be by far the most stacked region across the board this weekend, and that's going to make Surge that much more difficult. They have the meds, they can maybe out-heal it for a little bit, but this first threshold is no way to out-heal it, and this is what we're talking about, desperation. They've just said, okay guys, no one's here, no one's rotating past, Center's made the call, we've got to find something, let's look somewhere else. We haven't got to see this team really take that straight 3v3 fight like we've seen from Damir in reverse. Edgy and Commandment take it. They have a good chance of winning it, but it's that uncertainty that we haven't seen. We get that beautiful map shot. Thank you, Ops team. As you can see, there is next to no one out here. That was a great call to leave. There is actually no one on this edge. They're on that northeast section. They are those 3 little orangey kind of colored tags you're seeing there. There's some teams in Lazy Lake, but all the teams are on the northwest sections. They need to make it somewhere else, and this zone is going even further south. So if they can manage to get their tags now, they'll be okay. But once this breaks down into a mountain endgame, they're not looking great.
Yeah, no, not at all. But this vehicle will bring in attention. So now it's going to come down to the marksmanship of Edgy and Scented, or Edgy and Commandment here, who are both equally deadly with the rifles here. And they're going for those out in the open exchanges here with any team that they physically... So this might look like a big risky play, but it's actually could work in their favor. But there's a fight nearby. Yes, exactly. This is really, really good for them if they can poise up and look inwards to find some tags here. For Tragic Scope and Sisto, seems like they're getting active as well. They're still on top of DeQuentin's crew down low. This is over by the Flush Factory. This is where this fight has been breaking out round after round. This time around, though, at least they're on the successful side. They're on the winning side of the battle.
They're on the winning side of the battle, and there could be, we got a cheeky little teaser that we kind of figured out this morning, Monster, which it looks like, I believe Cease's team is poised for. They are, and they've already done it. There is actually some challenges down here right now that a few teams have managed to do the research to figure out. If you go down to the that little island at the bottom there, and you're wearing a Lara Croft skin, you get gifted a free Rift to go and a legendary assault rifle, and that's what Cease's team has done. And with the end game finishing over near there, other teams can now utilize that for their own Rift as well. So this could be a very, very exciting end game, but it's going to be about which team has done their homework. Cease's team clearly has. We saw today on EU that Queasy's team also did their homework. Other teams haven't been as quick on the draw though, so I'm excited to see how that kind of affects this end game, because it's something that me as a professional analyst and caster, I didn't find out about until yesterday.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We always tease about how these pro players have plays up their sleeves, how there's always something that you pull out, that trump card that you save for these days. And honestly, they never cease to amaze us. I mean, we saw it last season with the Big Chill, or, you know, just several seasons ago.
Yep.
We are constantly seeing different strategies, whether it's how to get max gold really quickly or how to upgrade all of your loot really, really fast. It all always comes down to who has done that preparation. And for Cease and Company, it seems like they're the team on NA that has been ahead.
For as well, always trying to find the strategies. Like I said, that team has been putting in so many hours with the coaches, with the VODs, improving Scope, just jumping up massively back to his, you know, previous form of just incredible mechanical prowess. Scope has never been a bad player by any means, but he's a player that at one point was, I would say, unarguably one of the best fraggers in the world, and he's jumping back up to that rise to prominence, and it's through preparation. I hope they can do something big here on day 2, because day 1 was a little bit cold, sadly. Similarly for our elite trio here as well, as Lem, Crunchy, and I believe Elite Naruto will be Narwhal. They've managed to have a really, really good qualifying week, and I want to see what they can do here today. But where did Centered Edgy Commandment go? Have they found their surge? Are they okay here? I mean, even Reverse 2K Day and Miro, nice shots from Zlem, are going to have to rotate their way in as well, and there they are. Reverse 2K Day and Miro right next to Aegis, Degen, and Skittles. That is 2nd and 3rd place, pulled up on top of each other at the home base of 1st place. But for some reason, Centered's team's not here. They clearly had a different strategy for their surge, and I'm guessing they've rotated far in that vehicle. And again, to me, Monster, that screams desperation. I don't think they have it, or at least they didn't when we last saw them.
When we last saw them, they were rotating right through, and it seems like they do not want to be on this outer edge. They're comfortable with getting more deeper inside the zone here to play for these high ground style tags, right, for rotating team tags. And again, that comes with its own pros and cons. For Lupian and crew, they're just trying to get to the other side right now to take a fight. But Reverse is going to fall there. That's a knock coming out of Voyou and his team, and Voyou is going to get the finish. And now, Day is also down. We might just be watching the story change here. Another pivotal knock right there, and Miro's left once again by himself. And mind you, not a single placement point has been given out just yet, guys. There are still 31 trios alive here. They have already slipped out of 2nd place into 3rd, and now they're pinched between the team that has overcome them, which is Degen, Aegis, and Skittles. In the middle is Miro.
And you are just seeing Fortnite at its purest form, a 12-game format where not only these players get to adapt and impose strategies, so do the teams around them. Miro, Day, and Reverse came in with a flawless strategy that worked for the first 4 games yesterday, until the teams around them started to clue on to what they were doing, and they started avoiding them. Now look at what is causing them. They have had pretty much, I would say, if they go down here, 3 of their worst 4 games are their last 3 of 4. So they've only had 1 good game in the last 4. They are starting to slip off the pace, and they need to be adaptive. They need to figure out something else. They need to change the strategy. I believe Miro, Day, and Reverse can do it, but whatever they're doing right now, it isn't working, as Miro is yet again, for the 3rd time this weekend, having a solo clutch with Storm Surge at his back.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? We talked about how teams can adapt and change their strategy. For Miro, Day, and Reverse 2K, their strategy was literally beeline the teams that are nearby, smash them out of the lobby, and then continue to earn your points and make those endgames. For those teams, if they adjusted their strats and they're avoiding their warpath now, maybe that's why we're seeing them have such a tough time. It's not because they're playing any worse, it's It's because other teams are being just a little bit quicker, right? And fixing up their mistakes. And now all of a sudden, this 2-day format is coming back to really punish them here. But let's see it though. For Skittles, Agers, and Degen here, who are already on the rotate right now, it seems like they're doing A-okay for themselves. The threshold is going to go on and pause there for a second. So now they're going to be safe, but look at how much material invested it's going to take for them to get to the new zone. On the mini-map, I still see Miro up for live, so he's going to be able to recycle all of this hard material that Skittles, Agers, and Degen are putting out there, which means that, hey, at least he can get one step closer to earning some placement points here, because he's not too far from striking it.
They need to get as much as they can. We heard it just before. Degen, Agers, Skittles have been so consistent, getting at least 20 or more points. Put it on our big brain analysts as well. I want Vivid, Adam, if they could maybe, not for next game if it's too short notice, but for one of the games